Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm here to do another Turo related video. I know the last video I posted was top 5 pros and cons to hosting on Turo. And whether you watch my last video or heard from somebody else, I thought that what would be very helpful is to post a video on how to get signed up for Turo in case you're interested. And this could be something in case you are ready to rock and roll, or you just want to get it kind of set up and then maybe test the waters out a little bit. But I'm here just to show you how to get set up on the Turo platform. It's super simple. Shouldn't really take you that long, depending on how detailed you want to get from the beginning. One thing I would note, if you are going to list a car or thinking about it, is basically you may hear this from basically all facets of life or any life advice, is that it's not going to be perfect at first, and just getting started is the biggest thing. So what you will learn from being on Turo with time, in terms of like updating your description, some maybe your drop off features, cost, whatever it is, the extras that may be added onto your profile, your car's profile, those will come with time. It's not going to be perfect in the beginning. I know personally my car description and just some of the extras I offered and delivery and pickup features, they weren't as good as what they are now. And so that's just kind of the point of it, is initially is just to get started with it, and then with time you'll learn. And that's just something that it comes with most things. It takes time to learn, and you'll get better as it goes along. So that was basically all I wanted to start it with. So now what I'll do is I'll show you just through the Turo website how to get registered as a host and get your first car online. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through a profile of kind of showing some of the details of what you'll see. So basically what you're going to do is get your car, uploaded and submitted for Turo. Once it's approved, you'll be live if you'd like to get going immediately. But just so you can see someone else's profile and just kind of what you're inputting and kind of how it shows up onto the Turo platform. So we'll get started with that. So I'm going to hop over to the Turo website here, and pretty nice features. I mean, if you're looking to rent, it just goes straight to the point. Where you're looking at, what cities, time pickup, time drop off. We're going to go over here, and I'm actually going to log out real quick since it's logged into mine. And once this pulls through, let's see, we're going to click on become a host. The first page you're going to get is right here. Start a car sharing business on Turo. Get started. Insurance providers, travelers insurance. That's actually who is, if you are, I guess on both sides it works, but if you are renting a car on Turo, you will have the option to select certain levels of coverage, and travelers is the one that insures those rides. From a host perspective, you don't really see what the renters pick, but just know that on the back end, if your car is being rented out, travelers is what Turo uses. And then if you want to scroll down, read some of the information here. They talk about scalability, accessible, flexible. I mean, I talked about it in the last video. Turo is incredibly scalable. You can do kind of you can go however far you'd want to go. Right now, we have one car on the platform, planning on getting number 2. The car that we have run for a little bit over a year, our F-150 has done a nice job for us. It's pretty simple. Right now, Turo is just basically just side income from us. It's not anything that my wife or I are able to get away from our full-time jobs at the time and really dive in. But that is something we're planning on in the future. Accessible, you can get started immediately. I mean, if your car is less than 12 years old and under 130,000 miles, you can put it on the Turo platform immediately and get going, and hopefully get some rentals soon and start making some side money for you. Flexibility, it's just you can do it however often you want. Say you only want to get one trip a month and you need it 3 weeks out of each month. I mean, you can block out those 3 weeks so your car is only available for that week. So then it really will fit to your time frame. Turo, there's no sense of, I guess, ownership on Turo's end. Like if you put your car on the platform, Turo doesn't basically say, okay, now it's ours and we can list it how often we want. You still have full control of that. Breaks down some of the numbers here, average incomes, depending on how many cars you have. So here's what you can factor in. I mean, on average, obviously, you get one car, a little over 10 grand a month, 10 grand a year. And then I know of other hosts who have 9+ cars, and this is what they do full time. It's just car rental space. And like I said, it just depends on how far you want to go with it and how much time you want to put into it. Just some of the details, insurance, safety and support. There's a Turo hotline. Once you get to Turo All-Star Host, then your customer support's a little bit better. You get kind of front of the line access, and it's just a little bit more preferable. So that would be my advice: is if you are going to list a car on Turo, do what you can to get to All-Star Host as quickly as possible. Demand generation, obviously, you're not creating your own website. You're not creating your own Google ads, trying to find clients coming to you. Their Turo platform is tried and true. It's all over the place. So you basically have instant access to what they say here, 14 million worldwide users, which it's a pretty nice feature. App, super easy. I'm only recording this video on my computer just because I wanted to have a little bit bigger screen. 99.9% of the time I'm on my phone with Turo, because it's just, pickup drop-offs, guest communication, setting my calendar, setting prices. It can all be done from your phone, so you don't need to be sitting on a computer, which is sweet. Talking about some of the hosts here, and then basically more success stories, basically just social proof that the platform works. So we'll move up here and we'll go to get started. And so when I go through here, I won't be able to click through basically all the features, because I don't have a car right now to list. So what I can do is I can do view all steps, and I'm going to walk through each one. So I can show you the first one here, because that's what it is. Where's your car located? So this is just going to be what area you want your car to be rented out of. For us right now, where we are living is not where our car is being Turoed out of. We are living in the Northern California area, and our car is in Nevada. So that is just one thing to keep in mind. It's not where you're located. It's specifically where is your car located and where is it going to be rented out. So you put that in, it will take you to the next step. And when I click here, it's going to ask your goals of Turo. Kind of what do you want from it? Is this going to be full time? Is this going to be side hustle? Whatever it may be. But that's just something more for you. Turo is not going to take that information and say like, oh, they only want to list one car. We're going to put them less in the search results or more in the search results if they're trying to go full time. It just kind of depends on what you're trying to get with Turo. Car availability, that is just determining, how frequent it is. On your calendar, you can individually block out days, weeks, months. Maybe you're, I don't know, maybe you have a truck and you're going to be moving for 2 weeks or something. You can block out those 2 weeks at a time, and Turo will not push any bookings towards you, like to say like, hey, I know it's blocked, but would you like anything? It's like, once it's blocked, it's blocked out. It's your car. If you don't want to rent it that day, then it's not going to be rented that day. Car details. So this is kind of where you're going to put a description of your car. Say, I know a really common one right now, or a popular car is the Teslas or EVs, I guess, for that matter. But for a Tesla, this is where you can kind of put some of the features in. Maybe you have the full self-drive. Maybe you just have the regular autopilot. I think it's beta or autopilot something. So not the full self-drive. These are where you can kind of get specific with it. Maybe you have some upgrades on your car, and you offer, your car has a great sound system that's been upgraded. You have Sirius XM radio for free. You have, let's say you're in an area that gets snow. You may want to list, you have all season tires, or you have snow tires, or anything really for that's going to kind of separate your car out, because that's one of the things when you look around Turo, you can see some people's whose descriptions maybe it's just, they have a whatever car it may be, and the description's just not great. It just says, hey, here's my Honda Civic, and it's well kept, it has good gas mileage, and you're going to enjoy it. If you were from a guest perspective and you saw a description like that, there's nothing really that's going to catch your eye with that. That to me is almost just like if you went to a regular car rental. It's like, you're going to get kind of the basic car rental, and there's nothing really that exciting about your car specifically. In this car details section, it really allows you to kind of separate yourself from maybe somebody that has similar cars, or maybe you just want it to stand out in your market just in general, not comparing to cars that are similar. But this is a section where you can really get creative and list all sorts of features on your car. Like, for example, our car has generator function. So say if somebody was going camping, like, you can use our truck as a generator. So you don't need to go rent or buy a generator. You can go camping and use our truck as a generator. And if I just had basic details of our truck, you may not know that it had that feature. So this is kind of where you really want to list everything that's possible, or anything positive about your car that's maybe it's that one thing you don't think is going to make a big difference, but somebody looking to rent your car might see that and say, hey, this is exactly what I need for my trip. The next step is number 5 is car photos. So car photos is another big one that really separates people who are trying to do this professionally, or people who have their car rented on a much more frequent basis. Because I've seen some pictures on just in our area where our car is rented, and basically, like, the front picture will have the truck, and it's not even the entire truck in the picture. It's maybe just like the grill, or it's gets 3/4 of the car. And this is where you really can separate yourself as well, is because you can find people on freelancers, maybe know somebody who can take professional pictures, but I'd highly encourage having very strong pictures, and you want to put a lot of them on there as well. Like for us, we have basically the whole 360 view of our truck. We have the internal entertainment system. We have pictures of, the front and the back sections of the car, so you can kind of see the space. We have pictures of, the rims, stuff that's just kind of shows how nice the car is, and how, it would attract people into it. And it's something that when you're first starting out, you can take with your iPhone, take with your camera, cell phone, whatever it may be, camera, and just get good pictures. Make sure you have, the entire car in the shot when you have exterior pictures. And then interior, obviously it's harder, but just make sure they're good quality, and that if you were renting a car, that is something that you would want to see. You don't want these pictures that are incomplete, or don't, especially from the exterior, just show sections of the car, because it just makes it look not as appealing, and kind of more, I guess, the way I view it. And when I've rented cars on Turo, I feel like it's a little bit more of a sense of confidence that the truck is as presented. And, if I book it, I'm going to get it, because the people are taking a little bit extra, taking extra care with the pictures. And so it just makes it seem like it's a little bit more authentic, and a little bit more, I guess, authentic, and that I know that car is going to be there when I go to book it. Safety and quality standards, that's just with the car, So the safety and quality standards, yeah, it's just going to be kind of, your overall car. There's standards of Turo for safety, kind of how frequently you need to get it inspected, tires, maintenance, all that type of stuff. So obviously you're not going to have a car on Turo and not do any maintenance for the life of it being on Turo. You're going to have to abide by some rules. And I know ours in the next month, I believe, is coming up, where we have our safety inspection for the truck, and that's annual. But like you would want as a renter, there are certain rules that you need to abide by to play as a host on Turo, because obviously if they're allowing people to just put junkers online, it's going to, affect their reputation as a business as well. So kind of as expected, they have their own rules and standards for cars being on the website. So that shouldn't be too much of a surprise. And then finally, you have to submit your listing, and that's kind of self-explanatory. Once you have everything filled out, you're going to submit your car to Turo, and they're going to have their team kind of inspect it, review it, make sure everything looks good, and make sure, you're not breaking any of the terms of service or rules or anything along those lines. And I've listed 2 cars on Turo. I used to have one back in 2016, 2017, somewhere in that time frame. And I remember both processes being super quick. I mean, that car was a Mazda 3, 2011 at the time, and the Ford F-150. I mean, from what I remember, it was a fairly quick process. I think it was within 48 hours that our truck was live and getting bookings. So as I'm saying, like, it just kind of depends on how quickly you want to go through it, how detailed you want to be. Like I said, don't don't fight for perfection right now. It's not going to be perfect, but just get it as good as you can. And then once it's on there, you can also research some other cars in your area, see what maybe some similar cars, see kind of what they're putting on their details. Maybe just people, oh, we got a nice little Dell Assist there. Maybe just other details in general about the area. Hey, you know, our car is great for visiting the X whatever site around our town and can get out there. So I would encourage that as well. Just do a little bit of research around your area and see what other people are putting in their details. But once it's going, then you're live and you feel good. But so what I will do is I will show you a listing in San Jose, California. That's where I searched, and I found a Tesla Model Y 2020. This is my first time, to be honest, recording Loom, so I'm going to do my best to block out the host's name, and so that way, just in terms of privacy. But I'll just kind of break down so you can see from the Turo side of what it will look like once you get your car uploaded. So let's see here. If we go here, here's the pictures. So like, as you can see, first picture, pretty much full frame shot. I do know that on the computer, it shows up a little bit different than the phone. So it may get the top here on your phone as opposed to on the computer. But full frame shot, there's a side by view, other side, you know, straight from the side, the front, the back, and then just a couple angles here from the back. So we got, basically they're covering their bases with the exterior of the car, which is fine. I mean, sometimes it's more information is better than less. I mean, if you have 50 pictures of the exterior, that's probably an issue, and a lot of them are very similar, then you probably need to reduce it a little bit. But that one, you kind of see they were going from like the 90 degrees, a little bit of angle, kind of just showing, you know, all angles of the car, which I would say is fine. It was probably a little bit towards the max I would get for the exterior there, but I think with how they had the angle of the car positioned, I think that was fine. They do have a picture here in the interior, so you can kind of see what driver's seat, passenger seat, kind of what to expect on the inside. And the car is pretty much cleaned out. I don't know if that's hand sanitizer or a water bottle. I probably would have gotten that out of there, but that's neither here nor there. Not my car. So there's the front, another angle of the front. You can kind of see, you know, from the passenger side, with driver's side, what to expect. Let's see here. Another angle of the front. Here we go in the back. Now you can see what you know, if you were to sit in the back of the car, what you're looking at, the white interior. I will comment though, I did see water bottle on each side and some of this kind of stuff in the back of the car. Personal preference, I would get that out of there. You just want your car to look as clean as possible. And if somebody's going to rent your car and they see, you know, items back there, may not be a big deal to some. This I'm just saying the way I would prefer it. I'd get this out of there if you're going to list your car on the platform. Another view of the back. Here we have the trunk space. So you can see pretty good. It's cleaned out nicely. That's what you like to see. No other, I guess, items, junk, whatever back here. So that's fine. So that way, you know, if somebody's renting your car, you know, maybe they've never rented a Tesla Model Y, they may not know how big the trunk is. And so this just gives a good little shot of, okay, this is what I can expect when I rent the car. When you set your price, like I mentioned in the previous video, I don't know if I mentioned in this one, you get to determine your price of the car. So right here, looks like they have it listed at $123 a day. I would assume there's some sort of discount going on, maybe a 3-day deal because we have it rented from the 21st to the 24th. There's a couple discounts that may factor into that price. I'm going to guess it's the 3-day. Since we're 2 days away from there, it's definitely not an early bird discount. So that's just dropping down to $117 a day. You can see here, they've had 68 trips, so, you know, I'll eat my words a little bit. You know, as much as I would prefer some of the pictures, some of that stuff on the interior to be cleaned out, you know, they still have 68 trips, which is pretty good, and all 5 stars. So, you know, props to this host. They've done a good job with, you know, making sure their renters are satisfied, and they've had a number of trips, which is impressive. When you're filling out your car details, there's going to be some stuff here, like here's, car's electric, it's 4 doors, 5 seats. So that way, okay, this is what I like. That will be automatically input by Turo. They'll be able to tell by your VIN and model of the car. So, if somebody's renting and they have 7 guests, they can look at it and be like, okay, 5 seats, this obviously isn't going to work. When you go down here to pickup and return location, we can see, okay, we can pick up the car for free in Newark, or they can deliver it to SFO, San Jose's airport, Oakland for free, and it looks like 1 hotel. But 3 airport deliveries, which is good in the Bay Area. All 3 major airports are close. They're not super close, but they're close enough. So, and for free, so that's a pretty good deal. Description here. This is kind of where what I was talking about is how you kind of want to separate your car. So this is performance. That's pretty catchy. Talks about the car being fast, how quick it does 0 to 60, even though you always want to follow the speed limit. Turo's terms of services. It tells you it's faster than a Dodge Challenger, a Hellcat, or a Porsche. Has every possible upgrade and option you can get from Tesla. So this would be something, if you're looking at description, like, you're not just getting a factory Model Y with nothing on it. You read that and you say, hey, I'm getting every upgrade possible. So that's kind of one of those things that differentiates this Tesla from another one, possibly, is that they're saying, hey, we have all the upgrades and this is why, you should rent our car. Explains kind of how the Tesla drives. Then here they talk about the delivery stuff. It looks like it's free delivery, but it looks like they make you pay to get the car, because I know a lot of times when you park at airports, you got to pay for the parking there. So looks like they just have the guests pick up that fee, which isn't super uncommon. Fast track, because there's some tolls out here in California. And then here is some of the other cars. I obviously, with only one, don't do this. I don't see this a ton, but frequently enough that this isn't super uncommon. They have their other cars listed, so in case you want to in case you're like, I'm not convinced that I want to get this Tesla, they say, hey, they have a Roadster, Audi, Tesla, another Tesla, and a Jeep Wrangler. So you may go, oh, well, this Audi looks interesting, and then you can go search on it in that way. It's a deluxe class, so this is some of the stuff that Turo will automatically set up for you. There's some higher end cars, Teslas, more expensive vehicles that Turo will basically not allow younger guests to rent. And it's a blessing and a curse. It kind of, eliminates some of your market, but then you could in theory be like, well, they will most likely, not be going nuts with the car. Still happens. Like, I'm not saying all 25 to 30-year-old plus people drive exactly how you'd want them to, but they just kind of eliminate. I think it's more from a risk perspective on Turo's side. Some of the features here, they just talk about, features of the car, pet friendly. So maybe your dog's traveling with you, you can bring your dog. It's got the toll pass. You can take it long term, heated. Maybe you're renting in the winter and you see that, oh, it's heated. So that can step it apart. Here's some of the extras we've talked about. You can get a child safety seat for $10 a day, prepaid EV, meaning that you can basically drop the car off at, I think it's within 30 miles of range here. It's pretty standard for Teslas. And so that way you're not worried about recharging at the end of the trip. Unlimited mileage, bike rack, all this type of stuff. So those are where you can kind of put some of your extras. And those are where, as you get more along the journey, those are some things to think about, is kind of how you can maybe, as a host, you want to increase the trip totals, obviously, because then you make more money. So these are some things to consider in the future. FAQs with Teslas, yeah, obviously range, where the superchargers are, what are the wheels. Those are just any little tidbits you want to put. Like for us, our truck is a hybrid, but it's not plug-in. It's just a hybrid battery, regular gas. So I have in here that, no diesel, regular, no off-roading. Those are just some questions that, if somebody was to rent your car and there's something maybe particular, something, not normal about your car, this is maybe you want to put it in here. So that way guests can read it first, as opposed to booking your car and then you find out, oh, this actually won't work for me. And then they have to cancel your booking. And then who knows how long, they've had that time reserved, and maybe it's cut some other renters out, like, because your car's been booked at that time. So those are just some things to consider. Ratings and reviews, pretty self-explanatory. So you can see here's some of the guests and how well the renting's gone for them. And I usually at the end of each trip ask my guests for a review if they have some time, and most people I think are willing to do it. It's just sometimes you kind of forget. I've been on the guest side; it's easy to forget about it. So it's kind of those things as a host. I just kind of a little gentle reminder, and most people will do it. It's very uncommon that somebody says they will and then doesn't. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then obviously it doesn't give you the specific address of where the car is located, but it's somewhere out here in the Newark area, which is the East Bay. And that's just where the car is permanently located, but obviously they can deliver to all these locations over here. So that is how you get set up on Turo. It's pretty quick. I mean, you can get online in less than an hour, depending on how quickly you're flying through it. You can, it can take up to a day, however long you want to work through this. But it is not that hard to get on there. And I will say again for probably the third, fourth, fifth time, I don't remember how many times now, but do not worry about the ad being perfect at this point in time. Just worry about getting it on there if you're ready to move forward. And as always, reach out, comment below if you have any questions. I'll do my best to address them. I do also have in the descriptions my Twitter link, which I'm tweeting about Turo pretty frequently. And then I also have some times to book if you'd like to discuss basically anything Turo related. I will answer your questions and just fill out a little pre-filled detail of what some of the stuff you want to talk about is, and then I'll do my research on my end, and we'll make sure you get up and running and you have a enjoyable and successful time on the Turo platform. We'll see you next time.